Hiya, I hope you're okay. Today I'm going to show you some of my favourite solutions for redness or rosacea in the skin. And I've tried to find a little bit of everything, so I've got different price points. I've got liquid, powder, primer, colour corrector, all in one, lots of different things. I'm not saying by any means that you need everything, but I wanted to show you loads of different things so that if you know that you prefer, one finish over another one, or you want your makeup to do a certain thing or look a certain way, there's loads of different things for you to choose from. Another thing I always just like to mention whenever I'm talking about redness or rosacea is always pop to the doctor if you're having a bit of a struggle with your skin. At the moment, I've really noticed a huge increase in hearing from people that are at their wits' end about their skin. And I can't emphasize enough that a doctor is going to be able to help that drastically, and they will have solutions that are just a quick few steps away. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not in a position to diagnose. I can't tell you what is going to be absolutely fail-safe perfect for you, but a doctor will be able to. So just keep that in mind if your skin is kind of reacting or you're not feeling the most comfortable with it at the moment. And also just a quick reminder, everything that I've used in this video is listed in the caption. So if you're on Instagram, click to make the video full screen. The title will come up along the top. Click the arrow and a full list of products will drop down. Or if you're on YouTube, they're all underneath the video. So the first one is going to come as no surprise, and this is my ultimate recommendation for redness or rosacea prone skin. This is what I use every day. It's the It Cosmetics CC cream. Now you might know that I'm the UK and Ireland brand ambassador for It Cosmetics. I'm coming into my 4th year of that now, which has just flown. And ultimately that came about because of how much I loved this product. It's a really lovely all-in-one foundation, concealer, colour corrector for covering the redness. In here you've got so much skincare, so it delivers properties of your moisturiser, serum, you've got a built-in primer, there's an SPF 50 built into the formula. If you want one all-in-one step, this is my absolute favourite. And what I love about it, there's 3 different finishes actually that I'll show you, but it gives you a really full coverage, but it doesn't look or feel heavy. So let me show you the 3 different finishes. If you're wondering where to begin, I'd go for the original formula in the silver tube. This one goes on nice and fresh and luminous, but if you want to, you can completely matte it down just by adding a little bit of powder. And I love that it gives you that full coverage but doesn't look or feel heavy. Now, if you want luminosity, you'll prefer the pink one, which is the illuminating version. This has an added pearly quality to it, so it gives you this real radiance and bounce to the skin. I don't want you to think of it as being glittery or shimmery. You can see on me here that it's just this kind of pearly radiance is the best way I can describe it. Now this one I really love if you need full coverage but you still want to look glowy, or if you've got an oily skin and you still want to look glowy. This will keep its glow even if you powder it down. So this is going to be a nice option for you to kind of have a deceivingly full coverage that doesn't even look that full. Now, if you've got an oily skin, you're going to love the oil-free matte finish. Just to note, the SPF is slightly lower on this one, and you can see that the application is slightly different because the texture is a bit more like a mousse than the others are kind of more of a gel finish. But as you can see, it's a beautiful matte finish, but it doesn't look kind of chalky or heavy. I'm not the biggest fan of anything matte, but I can really comfortably wear this and it just looks like really fresh, natural skin. I'd also say for the moment, this is by far the best of the 3 for wearing under a mask. Also, if you're just worried about too much luminosity, this is going to be the best one for you. So price wise, at the time of me making this video, the standard size of 32 millilitres is just over £30. You can also get, just in the original finish at the moment, this is a travel size. It's about just over a third of a regular size, and that one is £14 if you wanted to give it a good road test. But whenever the stores are back open, you'll be able to go in and get a free sample from any counter of any of the shades, any of the finishes, if you did want to have a little try. In the meantime, in terms of colour matching, the itcosmetics.co.uk website, if you go onto the live chat function, they'll be able to give you a full consultation and tell you which shade they think you'd be. There's also a brilliant new tool at Cult Beauty called MatchMe, and you take a quiz and they will give you your equivalent shade in all of their foundations, which brings me on to another one that I'm going to talk about in a moment. There's also the website Foundation, which gives you your match based on what you wear in any other brand. To summarise, this is for you if you want all of your foundation, skincare, SPF, coverage, everything in one single step. Now, a colour corrector of a completely different nature. This is the Dr. Jart Psychopair, and it's a green kind of skincare concoction that will completely knock out redness in particular. Now, I actually bought this over Christmas because there were loads of videos that had gone viral on TikTok about it, and I wanted to see if it was as good as everyone said, and it really was brilliant. And just to mention, I have also worked with them recently to celebrate their kind of elevated launch into the UK, because you can get them in Boots now. But the reason that came about was because they saw the TikToks I'd done and asked me to do some work with them. So I always just like to mention how these things have come about, so you can see that I genuinely do show you things that I really like. Now, the Psychopair is going to be a really good one for you. Because it's bright green, you're not going to use this all over your face. This is more of a skin treat than necessarily a makeup item. And what happens with it is, obviously it goes on this kind of minty green colour, but when you warm it up, it completely melts down and essentially will correct the redness. So some top tips with this one: I'd really recommend using your hands, because the whole point is you want to warm it up to get the best finish, and your hands are best place to do that. And just remember that green is the polar opposite of red, so it's going to counteract any redness. However, it's going to make you look kind of washed out if you use it anywhere that there isn't any redness. So keep it to the local areas and leave everything else nice and fresh. This is going to be really good if you just want to colour correct the areas of redness, and it's really nice for if you want to look like you haven't got any makeup on. And another thing I would say about it, it's a really rich green colour. You only need the tiniest bit, so that's going to last you a really long time. At the time of me making this video, this 15ml pot is £13, and you are not going to run out of this in a really, really long time. So if you want something that stands on its own and you can kind of have the illusion that you haven't got any makeup on, it's great for knocking out that redness. But also, funnily enough, for example, I heard from a lovely lady called Paula the other day. She's been wearing this under her CC cream, so you could layer it underneath your favourite foundation, or let's just say, for example, you have like a sheerer finish foundation that you love, but you wish it gave you more coverage on the redness. You could prep with a bit of this just where you have those red areas and leave your foundation looking nice and fresh everywhere else. To summarise, if you just want to colour correct the areas of redness themselves and you want something that you can wear on a no makeup day or underneath your makeup, you're going to like the Dr. Jart Psychopair. Now, if we're going down the traditional foundation route rather than colour corrector, these from The Ordinary, you've got the Serum Foundation or the Full Coverage Foundation, are two of my favourite picks on a budget. I think they give a really great level of coverage and they're not going to break the bank. At the time of me making this video, both of these are under £6. To show you the difference between the two, I'm going to put one on each half of my face. So the first one I'm using is the Serum Foundation. I think this gives a really lovely coverage, but I would recommend maybe just using a little bit of concealer over any especially red areas, because you've got a fresher finish with this one. And then the Coverage Foundation, this gives more of a velvety matte finish. It's not terribly matte though, like don't go thinking it's drying or anything, but as you can see as I buff this in, you just get a slightly more flawless finish. To summarise, if you want an all-over foundation and you want a fresh finish, I'd go for the Serum Foundation, or a matte finish, I'd go for the Full Coverage Foundation. Now, this is wrapped in bubble wrap, and I just thought I'd show you all of this because these things happen to all of us. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Freshware Foundation. This is another one that went viral on TikTok. I only bought it last week. It's brilliant. I've worn it for a good few days. I've worn it when my skin is more irritated and less irritated. This is a completely full coverage powder foundation. If you like a velvety finish, you're going to like this. This is not for you if you want fresh luminosity. This is really very matte in finish. This arrived smashed. Let's be honest, we've all been there. Don't worry about it if that happens. I'm just using a small brush instead of the sponge that it came with, building it up gently, and it gives you a really full coverage. And you know what? I'm not really a matte person. I don't like matte finish things, but this is a very nice matte that gives you a lovely velvety finish, wears really well. I would say it's very long wearing. I did have to touch up the T-zone, but I always do, and I always recommend anyone else to do that. This is brilliant. If you want something relatively affordable that is completely full coverage and a completely matte finish, this is going to be the one for you. Also, just to mention, if you want a face powder to finish the rest of your foundation with that offers a bit of coverage, you could also use this to seal your makeup in place or layer a little bit more coverage on the areas that the redness is showing through. At the time of me making this video, this one is $12.99. Now, if you're relatively happy with your makeup routine, but you just want a little bit of extra support with your redness and in holding your makeup in place, then you might like Daniel Sandler's Anti-Redness Primer. At the time of me making this is $24.50, but one of the great things that Daniel does on his website is he offers sample sizes, and you can order a sample of this for £2.75. One of the things Daniel is the most known for is his watercolor blushes, because they have this really soft, weightless finish, and that's what this primer is like. It really feels like you've barely got anything on. It's not bright green to the point that you're going to feel ridiculous. It just melts in and takes the edge off any of those red areas. To summarise, if you're happy with your makeup routine and you just want to slot one extra thing in to help to hold your makeup in place and to diffuse the redness, you'll really like this primer. And then a little note, I've mentioned these a number of times before, but how many times have you got a foundation and it's the wrong shade? And one of the tips that I think we all hear of a lot is to mix in a bit of moisturiser if something is too dark, and that will help to lighten it up. But what if it's too fair and you want to warm it up? And also, if you're trying to achieve a really full coverage, by adding the skincare to it, you're diluting the coverage, so that might not be the answer for you if you have redness. So if you want to make your foundation a bit warmer or a bit cooler, these little drops from Collection are less than £4 each. I've shown you these loads, but I think they're brilliant because it's pigment rather than skincare, so you're not going to lose any of the kind of coverage of your foundation, but you can colour correct the shade, and you literally mix a few drops into your foundation and it completely does the job for you. Just to quickly show you, really simple, mix them on the back of your hand and you're good to go. And then finally, a really quick note, but if you have rosacea or redness, your skin is likely to be a bit more hot to the touch. So I would always seal your makeup in with a little bit of translucent setting powder. And I'd just bear in mind that there's no solution in the history of the world that is going to guaranteed fail safe last you all day, every day with no touch-ups. So just get into the habit of taking a little bit of powder with you. Every time you go to the bathroom, just have a little look, touch up where you need it, and that little addition to your routine can be the difference between your makeup feeling like it's separating or not lasting as long, and the difference between your makeup lasting, feeling great and feeling nice and fresh and touched up. So there are a few suggestions from me. I hope they were helpful, and if you're using something else that you think is brilliant, please let me know in the comments. I think it's always nice that we kind of learn each other's tips and ideas from one another. I'm going to keep the rosacea videos coming, and also a bit of great news, Dr. Emma Wedgeworth is going to do some live Instagram videos with me through the month of March, so we're going to really delve into skincare tips and things like that. But as I say, just to really reiterate, there is so much a doctor can do for you if you're worried about your skin. There are things they can give you that can instantly reduce the appearance of the redness. There's nothing that's going to absolutely fail safe cure it, but there's so many steps you can take to making your skin look and feel better. So always remember to see a doctor if it's bothering you. I hope that was helpful, and I'll chat to you soon.